Well, Callum, welcome back to another episode of Red Tinted Glasses. It's our full-time reaction to tonight's rather unexpected, maybe, defeat to BK Hacken after last week's confidence-building result. It's safe to say we've been brought down to reality with a big bump after that performance.
Yeah, I feel less confident about us winning the fucking lot, as I said about this time last week. But no, I mean, it kind of looked like a game that we were just trying to get through to see us through the tie, really, didn't it? That's all it was. But we are through. Not too much complaints. Turn to Sunday. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, and end review. No, I think, Brune summed it up well in our group chat by saying it's maybe not a bad result in the sense that it just curbs that expectation and just stops us getting too complacent ahead of the season opener. Obviously we'll get into the game, but do you kind of agree with that? Like, is it difficult going into a game with that lead we had 4-0 to put in a similar standard of performance, because you've probably got one eye knowing you're already through?
It is difficult. I mean, you can say in pre-match or whatever, we're not going to be complacent as much as you like. It slips in, it creeps in there. And I think we did see that basically in the first 10 minutes. It sort of looked like they were a side that wanted to go hell for leather and try to get an early goal. And we looked a little bit complacent before. We did take a little bit of control, which went wrong. But yeah, I think it's hard. It was all about getting through the tie really tonight, and that's what's happened. So I've cared a lot more about 2-0 defeats, put it that way.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't want to hear anybody complaining about the coefficient after tonight's defeat, because you just need to take a look at Celtic's result if you want to start doing stuff like that. But, fair play to Andy Forbes and co, who travelled over to Sweden to support the team and obviously didn't get the result that they'd have been after, but I'm sure they've still had a cracking time in Gothenburg. Stephen Glass, we were speaking there about complacency. He said that he was not going to make 6 or 7 changes because he didn't want to be accused of being complacent. And if he did that complacency might filter down into the players. He didn't make any changes, went with an unchanged side that won 5-1 last week. I was quite happy with that, given, we haven't had many games in pre-season. Good opportunity to get minutes in the legs and see the likes of Ramirez and Jet get another game to work on their link-up and partnership.
Definitely would agree. The one change maybe we would have made is bringing in Declan Gallagher, but then you're dropping McCrory, who had a decent game at centre half, and Constantine obviously scored as well. So would have probably been harsh, but that would have been the only change I would have expected to have seen. It got us through. It got us through. That's all that matters. Yeah,
I think I agree. That would be probably the only change that I would have agreed on. Maybe even giving Jack McKenzie a start over Johnny Hayes, just for the youngsters' confidence. I mean, he said on Red TV that he's certainly got a bit more confidence about himself after getting the minutes towards the end of last season, but another composed performance after coming on again in the second half today.
I would definitely agree with that. He looks a bit like a sort of a wise head on young shoulders. Obviously, he's 21, so he's no like Calvin Ramsey kind of age. But no, he looks composed. He looks good defensively and very, very good going forward. Sort of like a classic modern day fullback, as they say. But very, very impressed again. Once again today. You're right in that he could have came in probably from the start, given Johnny Hayes. Maybe didn't cover himself in glory, but I suppose you want to keep that consistency, I guess.
Absolutely. So let's take a wee look at the game then. As we said, mentioned unchanged side, but a very similar pattern to the game last week at Pittdrie, where we didn't get off to the best of starts, and probably a worse start than we did at Pittdrie. Some vital last-ditch blocks to prevent Hacken taking the lead, but also Heinz hitting the woodwork. Not the best start.
Not the best at all. We looked a bit shaky. We looked a bit ropey. They came flying out the traps as we expected them to do. Obviously, try and get an early goal or two, which thankfully didn't come. But it was worrying. It wasn't great, and it did sort of bring us maybe a little bit back down to earth as we did sort of take control a little bit more and get our act together somewhat. Maybe not as much as we would have liked, but a little bit, enough anyway. In that case.
Enough, no, but once, we got into the game, we started kind of dictating the tempo of the first half. and moving the ball about, Scott Brown kind of dictating and marshalling the team from midfield. And we were actually playing some really nice football. We just couldn't get the ball in the back of the net.
I know, we played some nice football. I was about to say it's not like us, but last season we weren't playing nice football or getting the ball in the back of the net. So at least there was some nice football this time. Yeah, there was some positives to take from it, definitely, for it being a 2-0 defeat, 100%. We did look okay going forward, somewhat maybe lacking a bit of sharpness when it came to the sort of final ball. But after you've only played one competitive game before this game, that's to be expected. And I suppose it'll come, and hopefully it'll be better on Sunday. God knows we need it.
Yeah, hopefully. But we saw Christian Ramirez got off the mark last week, opening his account. J. Emmanuel Thomas scored in pre-season against Inverness Caledonian Thistle. You'll probably be wondering how he didn't get off the mark tonight, because there was a great chance that he had a previous shot from distance which went over the bar, but good build-up play fed in by Ryan Hedges and forced Abrahamson into a great save, but probably should have done better.
I don't know. I think it was a tough one to take. He sort of, from that range to get it past keeper, you probably have to start have it bending outside the post and come in, and from that range it's quite hard to do. No problem, by the way, with him hitting it from that range. You know, we had Ferguson on the right hand side, the one from long distance. Show confidence, Jet. He's got it in him, so why not take it on? Quite happy with that. I thought all round his game was actually okay, to be honest, as well as link up play. Obviously took a little bit of a knock. Hopefully it will be okay, and hopefully that was more precautionary than anything else. But maybe unlucky not to grab a goal, but it's positive once again.
Yeah, I just wonder if that substitution in the second half was down to, the concussion protocol that these teams have to follow now. As Stevie Cowden was saying on co-coms, maybe you have to get the staple gun out. But
Didn't enjoy him, by the way. Not at all.
Well, he was more entertaining than Rob McLean. I'll give him that. Bring back Andy Barge. That's what I say.
I agree.
But there was obviously blood coming from the cut that he'd had above his eye. Bit of precaution, but we'll come on to that in a wee while. We did see, though, as the first half developed, about 5 minutes later, Jet and Ramirez linked up brilliantly. Ramirez trying to get on the end of the through ball. I think he does, but he just doesn't manage to dink it over the keeper. I know Calum was very critical of Ramirez in that situation, but I think he does as well as he could. But potential there, we saw the makings of the partnership that these two could forge, and for me that was exciting.
Exactly. It's still obviously very early days, but it's good, encouraging signs. I think he did try and dink it over the keeper. I don't know I think Karen was saying he wasn't, and he was sort of trying to, he didn't go in. He says
he backed out of it. Yeah. I don't think he really does.
I think he tries to chip it over the keeper, but he scuffs it, and then it just kind of goes along there. And let's also not forget the fresh air swipe as well. I don't know if we're going to come to that, but...
Well, that was after it, but yes, I did forget about that in my notes. But...
Well, exactly. So I'll keep you right for once, Glenn. How about that?
Yeah. But no, it's not the only fresh air swipe we're going to talk about tonight.
Oh God, I know. But we'll get to those. But no, I think I do admire what he tried to do there. It's just unfortunate it didn't come off. On another day, it probably does. But as you say, it's encouraging signs, the link-up play, because they have. Don't know how long they've been trained together now, but it sometimes takes people a lot longer to form that sort of understanding. And it seems to be coming quite naturally to them, so very pleasing.
Yeah, and we also saw a few minutes later that when the two of them broke, Jet tried to play in Hedges. Unfortunately, the kind of summed up our first half, really. The ball was played in behind Ryan Hedges instead. If he just plays it in front of him, it was a chance for him to really run onto and probably take a shot with first or second touch. Like I said, kind of sums up our first half. But even Funso Ojo throughout the first half was kind of being one of the more advanced of the centre mids. And it's quite exciting that we've got these midfielders that can run from deep and link up well. It's going to cause defensive problems throughout the season, I feel.
Definitely. I think it's maybe a role on Funso Ojo. It's maybe a role he's not used to so much, so it will probably take some getting used to, but he's capable of doing it. He's got the legs for it, so I think the more he plays that and the more obviously time he gets on the training pitch, we will maybe see him be a bit more productive in the final third, which isn't going to be encouraging, but it's it's good signs. It's still early days with them working with the new management team, with the whole new tactics that they're trying to install, new style of play. But it seems to be coming off. We are definitely seeing signs of it working. So it's weird being so positive after a 2-0 defeat, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like you said, you've definitely been angrier after 2-0 defeats. That the end of the day, in these sort of ties, as long as we get through, that's obviously the main objective, is getting through these ties. As it stands, it's a trip to Iceland. The Breidelbeck, I think they're called, are 2-0 up at half-time. So it'll be a trip to Iceland on Thursday, as things stand. But kind of as the game, after that chance for Hedges, there was kind of a warning shot of things to come when there was a really good through ball play through to Jeremiev, who obviously took the goal well at Pittdrie. Offside, yes, Joe Lewis saves well, but there were signs there in that move that we're still not totally defensively sound yet.
No, and I think, not only bringing in Declan Gallagher as soon as possible would maybe help, but signing another centre half as well, because it was a bit concerning both in this leg and the previous leg how they did get in behind centre half, especially. Fullbacks defensively looked pretty good, to be honest. Ramsey obviously showed us what he's capable of going forward in the last game, and he looked pretty solid defensively too this game. So, but it does look like in the middle of the park's where the problem is, in the middle of the defence. It was concerning. It was a warning, and they didn't learn. So
didn't learn at all. But before we get on to that, we did have one final chance in the first half. Lewis Ferguson with a very good header, forcing another good save from Abrahamson, but another poor delivery from Johnny Hayes, who I'm stunned was still on set pieces, because his delivery, when you looked at what the quality of delivery Calvin Ramsey produced last week and has been producing from his corners throughout the game tonight, the standard of Hayes' delivery was kind of markedly poor in comparison. I think Alan Russell will be setting up training not only on finishing, but their set piece plays.
I very much hope so, but it's a good point you make about Calvin Ramsey. I think he put a ball on a sixpence basically, but John Hayes not so much. Bit of a concern, but we kind of known that his crossing's not always been his strong point. I think the words that he couldn't cross the road have been uttered quite a lot by my old man.
I was going to say by you, but
well, me as well.
Neil getting his first mention of the new season.
Yeah, there was actually that reminds me. There was 3 yells of shite in the first leg I forgot to mention. So there we go. But none tonight, I don't think. So we'll see what Sunday brings.
Well, I'll be listening out because I know you're both in the red shed ahead of Sunday's game. Second half, as we said, again, kind of similar pattern to the first. We didn't start the half well. Hacken coming out very lively. But unfortunately, we were forced into that change that we touched on previously with kind of really our main focal point up top. I think it's fair to say was kind of evident with Jet going off for Teddy Jenks. And that did seem to kind of rock us a little bit.
I think so. I think it emphasises the point you made in our domestic season preview, which you can, of course, go back and listen to after this. Make sure it's after this, please. That we might need to bring in another striker at least, because when he came off, it did sort of look like we were a little bit clueless. We didn't have much idea what the game plan was, what was going on, which is unfortunate, and we did pay the price for it. But I suppose if anything, I'll spin a positive on it, and it shows just how good a signing J. Emmanuel Thomas is. There we go.
Oh, well, there's maybe a career in politics for you yet, if that's the sort of spin you're going to put on it. But I think it's a good point. Tonight really highlighted what we discussed, and it's great that you referenced that the Premiership preview show that we've done with Robbie Hanratty, where we discuss kind of the season ahead in terms of the Premiership and the squad that we're taking into that. And the 2 areas of our main concern were centre half and striking options. And both areas showed why tonight, because I think as the game went on, obviously once Jet came off, Ramirez, I mean, for as good as he was in the first leg grabbing his goal, I thought he tired very badly in the second half. After about an hour, 70 minutes, I think he was done physically. But we had nobody to bring on in replacement for him, and we needed an out ball up top. Was Michael Ruth on the bench tonight?
I don't think he was. I don't recall seeing him. You've put me on the spot there. I might look like an idiot. We might both look like idiots.
Yeah, we might both. But
we probably do. That's as we say, as per usual.
It's a tagline of the show. But again, highlighting why we need another striker in, because Teddy Jenks comes on for J. Emmanuel Thomas. I don't really remember much that he really did in the game.
He had a snapshot wide. That was about it. That's all I recall.
Yeah. I mean, in comparison to what the other two had done, I know the game kind of changed not long after he came on, but I just felt we lost kind of that direction up top. And it was more a case of once he came off, it was right, let's just kind of see this game out. And, kind of nearly didn't go to plan, didn't it?
No, good old game management, wasn't it? But no, I would agree. If it's hardly like for like. We're not being harsh on Jenks. It's not like for like. It changes the whole system entirely. So, but not great. And boy, the game did change, didn't it?
It did, yeah. I think Stu actually wasn't sure in our group chat saying if he thought it was Jenks that initially gave the ball away.
I think it was as well.
Good start.
Instead of getting rid of it with his left peg and just hooking it, he tries to play it out.
That's what I've put in the notes that I sent to you. Clear the lines better, poor defending all around, and I think Stephen Glass will be disappointed in the manner of the goal we conceded. And yet again, no clean sheet in a competitive game for Stephen Glass during his time in charge at Aberdeen so far.
But I would also maybe mention that maybe comes from him trying to play it out from the back rather than just getting rid and having the pressure come back on you, perhaps. Just, playing devil's advocate here.
In terms of what, Jenks or Stephen Glass?
In terms of Jenks trying to play it out rather than just hooking it and getting rid of it no matter where it goes, kind of thing. Because it comes from Glass trying to play out from the back instead of just giving the ball away immediately.
Yeah, and as you'll see on our Twitter page at @RTG_podcast, you can of course follow us on there. And if you're watching tonight on YouTube, why not give us a wee like of the video if you're enjoying what you're hearing, and hit that subscribe button. We quoted the tweet from JJ Bull. Many of you might have heard him on the Totally Scottish Football podcast before, and he kind of summed up that first half really well about kind of the high press that the fullbacks were playing. The team were moving as one unit, and we were kind of looking for the passes before, getting rid of the ball. And we saw that in the first half with Calvin Ramsey when he was under pressure. I think it was where Ross McCrory did a quick 1-2 before casually getting rid of the attacker and then playing the ball up. So it obviously looks like we're coming from a style where we want to be playing more, but in certain situations you just need to go old school. And Mark Reynolds, there's a throwback for some of you, was very good at that no-nonsense centre-back. Just get the ball into row Z when you're a bit under pressure. Just relieve that pressure, let your team regroup and reset. But unfortunately, maybe it's just that little bit of inexperience from Jenks, possibly, but also kind of going on that style of play. It's, it's not coming back to bite us. It's just something that's picked up because for us watching at home, it's really a really frustrating goal to lose.
Yeah, frustrating goal, definitely. Just on Mark Reynolds, to be honest, I think he's maybe a man who maybe could have been doing with playing a little bit more at times, let's be honest. But what a guy. Just honestly, now that you mentioned Mark Reynolds, all I can think about is just nostalgia central now. Sorry, I'm going to be useless the rest of the podcast.
It's all right.
No change there.
Yeah, no, maybe a future guest for a player interview now that he's Mom's neighbour. So
yeah, good point. Good point. And we can show him this clip. Oh, no, don't show him this clip, actually, because I slid him off a little bit. But just show him the bit that's where I say I was really nostalgic. Just say that. Okay.
I'll let you edit that perfectly.
Oh, yeah.
But do you think there will be a bit of cause for concern from Stephen Glass that the fact that we've yet to keep a clean sheet competitively before someone picks us up, that we drew 0-0 with St Johnstone in pre-season?
Yeah, probably. It is a little bit concerning. Still early days, though, of course, and obviously last season it wasn't his side. He didn't have time to put his stamp on things. I suppose in the last game when he scored 5, you can't really complain. Tonight, probably more of a concern. But, I mean, I suppose we'll just carry it on to Sunday, and then that'll be our first clean sheet, and we'll smash them out the park. You totally really believed that, didn't you?
Yeah. Sell it to the people. But in fairness to the team, going 1-0 down didn't knock our confidence. We still drove forward in numbers, and we had a brilliant counter-attacking move started by Ryan Hedges. I think I scared Rory when I just shouted, "Play it wide!" And a brilliant through ball to Christian Ramirez, who really unselfishly, for a striker, squared the ball to Funso Ojo to tap home. Well, that was what's supposed to happen.
I think it looks like he took his eyes off the ball like completely, and then just made zero contact with it. He could have basically.
I don't know how he didn't make any contact with it.
I think he could have stepped onto it with his left as well, just as easy, and just prodded it straight home.
Well, I think he tried to hit it with his left.
Did he?
I think.
This is quite concerning that we don't even know what he was trying to do. Yeah, I don't know.
Well, I don't even think he knows what he was trying to do.
That's what I'm saying. I think he's not used to playing that sort of role, being in that position. So it will come with more. The more he plays there, the more work they do on the training ground.
And I think that's what Rob McLean kind of flagged up after that miss as well. But
it wasn't concerning. And then he still had the confidence to take on another shot later on and things. So his confidence didn't waver. But it is a bit annoying that basically if Ramirez made contact with the one in the first half, Ojo that one, and then Constantine at the back post, if you get three professional footballers make contact with a football, then we've probably won the game 3-2. So that shows the sort of tight margins of the game today. That's why we're not concerned, really.
No, and the thing is, people might think I was having a go at Christian Ramirez for, tiring. It's an observation, but on another night, Christian Ramirez grabs 2 assists tonight.
Well, exactly.
And nobody's probably picking up that he's slightly, tired towards the end of the game. And let's remember, he's probably still getting up to speed on the rest of the team anyway. So he might be thankful for getting those minutes in his legs tonight.
Definitely, and towards the end of the game as well. Once Jet went off, he was doing a lot of the work up there by himself. He didn't have Jet up there in support, so was a bit more isolated, had a bit more to do, which I suppose would play affect it as well.
Yeah. So we talked about the Yeremyev chant in the first half, obviously flagged offside with a through ball. Almost see a carbon copy of the through ball in the second half. It was Bengston who was played in rather well, actually. He was the man that conceded the penalty at Pittdrie. It was his chance, though, to win the penalty and before duly converting it past Joe Lewis. But once again, huge concerns around the centre-back pairings. They were caught out for the goal in the first leg. Ross McCrory probably not positioned great, and then Constantine didn't really defend it great. When you've got one centre half standing with his hand in the air and the other centre half standing side on and not able to track the run, for me that's got alarm bells ringing before Sunday's game against Dundee United when you're coming up against a Lawrence Shankland and co.
Yeah, I very much agree. I would like to see Declan Gallagher come in for Sunday's game. Let's give a special mention to him, by the way. And probably the first Aberdeen player to have been booked before kicking a ball for us. So fair play, mate. That is poetry. It's if anyone's going to do it, it's going to be him. So fair play. But I'd like to see him come in on Sunday. And with that penalty, it's one of those ones where we're thankful now for the double jeopardy rule, because otherwise Lewis would have been straight off. So,
well, to be honest, I kind of forgot the way red cards sometimes are in top pockets. I thought, here he goes, he's got a way to get sent off here.
Yeah, that would have been concerning, but thank God for that rule now, because he definitely would have walked about 2 seasons ago or whatever it was before they changed it. And they put away the penalty with ease, but thankfully they decided to descend into chaos and lose their heads, so that was fine.
Yeah, and I suppose we should actually be thankful. We've actually just skipped that point, but Joe Lewis not getting a red card, but should be thankful for Joe Lewis because he had a great save from Mohammed at 1-0, to tip that round the post for a corner. Because as it got to the 75th minute at 2-0, I was kind of laughing, as they were coming forward again, thinking surely not.
Yeah,
but we were 2 goals away from potentially going to extra time, so maybe just as well this away goals rules being cancelled this season.
Yes, thank God they're ruining football and changing the rules with double jeopardy in the away goals, because otherwise it might have been a very different story tonight. But it's a good point. And to be fair, I was quite critical of Joe Lewis at times last season. He looks a lot more confident, a lot more like himself. which is good to see, and he's performing well so far. But let's touch wood and make sure that it sticks like that. Haywood, well, I was going to say Haywood, not so Haywood. Sorry. I had to get that.
Folk listening, I have no idea what you're talking to.
I know. Basically, Glenn knocked on his head. So there we go, just to make sure you all know. But no, thank God they descended into chaos as well, because they lost all discipline and just lost their ride, completely lost their head, lost all control of the game. So did the referee, but we'll get.
They did, and Valamark, who was on the end of a tough challenge from Johnny Hayes, who I think rightly got a booking, despite Cowan thinking it wasn't. Yeah. He seemed to lose all discipline, flying into Ryan Hedges, didn't get brought up, and got booked in the melee that followed after the penalty, and then decided to whack Jack McKenzie in the face for no reason, really. I know he was trying to fend them off, but he didn't need a stern forearm.
Well, it's not even like Jack McKenzie's a small player either, so it was quite high. High. I don't have a clue what he was thinking, but they didn't even seem to learn from it either. It just they all just started doing the same thing. It was just a bit mental, to be honest, but I quite enjoyed it. It was made for good entertainment, seeing like Ferguson and Brown just like laughing in their faces and stuff. That was good. I enjoyed that.
Yeah, I think, and that's the point I was going to come on to there, about the game kind of descended into a bit of chaos. The referee kind of made it a bit about him at 2-0. I wouldn't want to say we lost our heads. I think Calvin Ramsey was the most inevitable booking, the amount of time wasting he was doing at the set pieces, go back to your game management. But the way Scott Brown then started getting at the referee every time a foul was made, and Ryan Hedges actually was another one that I thought was constantly up at the referee. There was a couple of times, I think it was him or McLennan got taken out on the counter-attack. The ball ended up going out for a corner, and Hedges was like, well, where's the booking there? We're looking for that consistency, but I think it was just a bit of a lottery depending on who got booked tonight.
It was a bit about the referee, but I did enjoy that as well from Hedges, and that's the benefit of having Scott Brown. He will, for a fact, he will do that. And but it's weird because I'm paying more attention to it now. He's kind of doing it in a way where it's not like imposing.
You're annoyed by it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, basically I'm not annoyed by it anymore. So
the one that amused me was 5 minutes to go, where he feels a tug on the back of his jersey, arms in the air, and he flops down. The Hacken defender is in Scott Brown's face saying, "What are you doing, mate?" And like you said, Brown's kind of laughing and said, "Well, he touched me." That's that little bit of game management. That little
exactly
bit.
What he's doing. Yeah.
What was the word you used? Tactical nous.
Tactical nous. Yes.
That we've been missing.
Yeah, I mean, it's so funny how much when he used to do it against us, we hated him so much, and now he's for us, we're like, yes, love it. It's so
now we can revel
fickle, man. Yeah, it's funny.
Yeah, I know. But with the result tonight, obviously not going in the way we'd hoped, losing 2-0, and it became a little bit more uncomfortable the last 15-20 minutes, probably the period of time that Stephen Glass would have hoped, had things gone according to plan, him being able to rest players ahead of Sunday's game. Do you think, looking ahead briefly to Sunday, as Calum said, you can catch up with our thoughts on the season ahead in our last episode, do you think he'll be a bit disappointed that he couldn't get certain players rested ahead of Sunday? Or, given how fit our Aberdeen squads have been over the past few seasons, should we as fans not be too concerned by that?
I think in an ideal world, they maybe would have been able to rest Brown or whatever, or maybe get 45 minutes into Gallagher's legs, whatever. But, we can't complain too much. I suppose they've not had the longest of pre-seasons, so in the long run, that sort of thing will probably do them good, get up their match sharp and miss ahead of the league season. Of course, we won't be saying this if we go and collapse against Dundee United. We'll be saying, oh, it's because they were knackered after Thursday, mate. But, that's the way football goes, isn't it?
It is indeed. Well, hopefully we are back with loads of positivity on Monday when we record our review of the Dundee United episode, Calum. Excited for the Premiership season to get underway?
Very much so. I feel like it could be a very, very good season, not only for us, but Scottish football in general, nice and competitive. It'll be good getting back to away games when they come round, some good away days in there. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, nothing to fear yet.
I'll quote you that on Monday.
Okay, yeah, I look forward to that.
Yeah, and as Callum said, and we've both mentioned, if you want to hear our Premiership preview, remember to tune into that. It's available for you to listen or watch on YouTube. And if you are listening, make sure you give us a wee follow wherever you're listening. And on YouTube, hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't done so already. For those of you that play fantasy football, we do have a Red Tinted Glasses Fantasy Football Scotland League on the go. I think there's 36 of you in it already. The code is xSwjb, all lowercase, and it's free to join. Just a bit of fun, just to see how you get on against all the fellow listeners and viewers of the podcast. And we'll update that as we go on the show as well. And yeah, you gonna enter a team, Callum?
Yeah, I was going to say I need to do that. It'd be stupid if I wasn't in there, really, wouldn't it? Because it'll add another competitive element to the show every week. So I will do that, and I'll also find out whatever details Glenn's just spewed out, and I'll put them in the description as well, because it'll maybe be a bit easier.
Yeah, the screenshot of the league code is available on our Twitter page, which is at @RTG_podcast. And remember, you can follow us on there. We are also on Instagram, rtg.podcast. We will be back on Monday to record our review of the Dundee United Premiership opener, with the episode to be out on Tuesday. We will also be joined, depending on the result of the other European game tonight, by a representative from Bravida to give us an insight into them, or someone to give us an insight into Austria Vienna, as a wee preview ahead of next Thursday's Europa League fixture. So we hope you can join us then.